Guys, it's been a busy couple of days. Yesterday we had Chinese New Year lunch with Proton, and just now I was having the same with Perodua. And as you would expect, after meeting these two car makers, a couple of interesting updates to share with you guys. Firstly, Proton, they have confirmed it. The X50 is coming. This is not exactly a well-kept secret, but it is first official confirmation nonetheless that the car is coming, and it's going to be called the X50. They did not disclose much details beyond that, but we all know it's based on the Geely model called the Bingyue and a Bingyue, right? Whatever lah. Bingyue, I think, yes. And it's a HRV sized crossover, so no prices for guessing. That is going to be a very popular segment. And yeah, so the X50 name is confirmed, and they will be making it straight out of Tanjung Malim. There will be, unlike the X70, there will not be China built CBU versions. All right from the start, they will be making the X50 locally in Tanjung Malim. All right, just as they will soon with the X70. In fact, if you remember, a few weeks back I was at Tanjung Malim to witness the first rollout of the locally assembled X70. So yeah, and soon, by end of this year, that the X70 will then be joined by the X50 as the renewal of Proton's model lineup continues. So what else? Yeah, so they have not confirmed any official technical data yet. So there's what engine they use and all that. That is still the subject of speculation. But reports online have mostly speculated that the X50 will be running the 1.5 liter turbo engine paired to a 7-speed dual clutch transmission. So we'll have to wait and see on what Proton will finally bring to the table when the car launches. All right, and of course, moving forward, the Tanjung Malim plant will serve as the global right-hand drive production hub for the Geely group. So yeah, I mean, moving forward, right-hand drive versions of the Boyue, the Bingyue, and future Geely models, which will also be rebadged as Protons, they will be built and exported from Tanjung Malim. All right, and we can expect that the further upcoming Proton models, there will be no more China built specials like they had with the X70. So this X50 B segment SUV, it will be the reason why even when Proton launches the locally assembled X70, there is unlikely to be a significant reduction in price from where it currently stands, because right now the X70's pricing ranges from just under 100,000 ringgit to 123,000 ringgit. All right, from the standard all the way up to premium. So with the new X7, new 2020 X70 CKD, they may drop the price a bit, but don't expect it to drop too far, because they still need to leave some breathing room for the X50 to operate in. So there is a possibility that the highest spec X50 can be priced higher than the X70, but base model to base model, there will be a substantial difference. All right, I mean, there's no way they can bring the X70 price down to say 85 or 80,000 ringgit without rendering the X50 irrelevant. Okay, so yeah, I think even if they bring down the X70 pricing later on, it won't be much, and it's unlikely to be less than 95,000 ringgit, and even that also I think is I believe it's hopeful thinking. So that's the X50. No further details have been given. And as for Perodua side, what they shared with us mostly was sales figures from last year, and that I missed that part of the presentation. But I think of greater interest to us was towards the end. They were talking. There were a couple of slides that were talking about downsizing, all right, about the current trend of engine downsizing, and they were also talking very much on the seemingly unstopping rise in popularity of SUVs. And whilst they didn't specifically say in those words that we will be launching a new SUV model with a turbocharged downsized engine, the implications are there. It does look like that the not so subtly hidden message is that Perodua has another new SUV model, compact SUV model up its sleeves with a downsized turbo engine, most probably a 1 liter from Toyota and Daihatsu. And what they did say is that their next upcoming model will be based on the Daihatsu DNGA platform. So this DNGA platform is basically the Daihatsu version, the K car, the compact car version of Toyota's TNGA platform. So future Perodua models will, in the upcoming decade or so, will sit on this DNGA platform, beginning with their next one. They didn't specifically confirm it, but they more or less implied that such a thing is coming. So with a new SUV from Perodua, where would that place? Where would it be placed in their lineup? And more importantly, where does it leave the Arus? So my take on this, and this is purely speculation from my part, my take on this is that this new SUV model, it has to be based on a monocoque platform. So it will offer that contrast against the Arus, which is a more rugged, more robust leather frame design. Right, that's the kind of, like I always say, the Arus is a great vehicle to have if you regularly traverse bad surfaces, if the roads in front of your, if the roads that you travel daily resemble the parking lot of a Klang seafood restaurant, then yes, an Arus makes a lot of sense, because those underpinnings are designed to take a lot of punishment. Even it may not be built for outright off-roading, but they are built for rough use, which is not the kind of usage that the likes of the X50 or X70 is targeted at. All right, you can expect that the X50 and the upcoming Proton X50 will, like the X70, be positioned as a more refined product. Even one with you may even say that it will have premium pretensions, but of course one offered with fantastic value. Whereas this new conjectural SUV from Perodua, what would it be? I reckon this would be a closer competitor to the X50. All right, and yeah, so it will offer an interesting counterpoint against the Arus. So the Arus in Perodua's lineup will serve as something for rough utilitarian use, whereas their new 1 liter, the new turbo SUV will be better suited for urban usage, maybe even long distance driving, that kind of thing. So there's of course still much that we don't know about what is going to come, but safe to say that there will be new models coming from both Proton and Perodua this year. So those of you guys with intentions to buy a new car this year, well, you have something to look forward to.